Ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce Zara? Hey! What's the subject, Don? The subject is Zara.
Yeah. For those who don't know me, I am the...
Zara.
Yeah. Yes, for those who don't know me, I'm Zara. I'm also known as the Assistant Lecture Coordinator. That helps Don, who isn't here because he has a job down in Canberra. Yes. Yeah. I've been working at Luna Park for 1.5 years, and it has given me some background of why I'm talking about the Luna Park history. The reason why I did it, because it has been a traumatising couple of years due to Luna Park losing payment because COVID lockdowns happened, and they didn't get a lot of once we got out of lockdown. Short staff for most jobs, for all of the jobs, I intend to say, and Luna Park got hit pretty badly because they didn't make much profit once we got out of lockdown, so we had to keep our safety requirements. Continuing on, my call sign is VK2ZYP. Dom and Greg like to call me Dom and Greg like to call me Zip because I think it's professional and I think it's funny. So when did Luna Park first get established? Well, the question is, there were 6 Luna Parks. Most of you didn't know that Brisbane, Perth and Auckland had a Luna Park. Neither did I, which came to a massive surprise to me because they didn't exist until I got told. So Melbourne was the first built Luna Park, which was in St Kilda, and is, I don't know if anyone's visited, but I haven't. I drove past it.
I've been there.
Oh.
Still there.
Yes. Adelaide was second built for Luna Park. Then it came down to Sydney.
Sorry, didn't get these quite in order.
Yes, I didn't get these quite in order, so I'm going to stand here. So the one in Melbourne got built on the 13th of December 1912, a day before my cousin's birthday. Lucky cousin. My cousin who lives in Melbourne is a massive rides person. He loves rides and he's 16 years old. So, yes. So, it was built with a Dreamland site, which failed as an amusement park because the councils obviously didn't agree on what went on. So, this was built by America. So all of the Luna Park equipment and all of the rides, all of the food are well known as American. So it had 3 builders, James Williams and the Phillips brothers, Harold, Lynn and Herman, which they were well known until the Phillips brothers died in 1950. This was brought from the experts of Coney Island in New York, where there was a Luna Park. So before Luna Park happened in Australia, New York had it until it got moved. So the next opening date was Adelaide, Glenelg, on the 8th of October 1930. This was daily 1,000 to 2,000 guests, which wasn't enough, but it was that the guests were there to have fun. So it got closed in 1934 due to a couple of reasons. The council had an argument over with the park owners in Adelaide, not knowing because of the rent payment, because they obviously didn't have enough money. Which was unprofitable, so that meant the park was closed. And the town residents thought that, well, the amusement park isn't going to be running much longer, so they made it undesirable. So that was the second reason why the park had to close, and it was also close to people's houses. So Sydney Luna Park, which I been working for a year and a half, and it has now passed my year anniversary being there. So this one opened the 4th of October 1935. All the Luna Park rides from Adelaide got moved to Sydney. This meant that it was constructed and it was basically new, and all the railway sidings used for the Harbour Bridge construction were already there. During the Harbour Bridge construction was completed in 1932, North Sydney Council was looking for some developed sites to get used. So they wanted more people to help out. Before Luna Park was even open, Milson's Point is named after James Milson. He was very famous for his grazed livestock, but he obviously didn't pay enough money. Every year the annual rate was £8.
A lot of money in those days, right?
Yes, but yeah. Also, another tragic incident happened when Luna Park was running, the ghost train fire. So Brisbane had a Luna Park which operated from 1944 to 1966 at Redcliffe, better known, as the residents like to call it, Dead Cliff. Fun name. This meant the rides included a steam train, Ferris wheel, side shows, so where you threw balloons or little bag things in the side the clowns' mouths, which creeped me out when people did it. Car rides and a saltwater swimming pool. So Brisbane didn't have much of a reason why it closed. I couldn't find a reason. Perth opened in Scarborough.
Didn't have enough money to get the right entrance.
No, but it was true. They didn't have enough money, so it opened the 25th of November 1939 and then closed in 1979 to replace it with a shopping centre. Wasn't the nicest thing that people could do. Auckland had a Luna Park. It got closed due to the Depression in 1931. So one of the main attractions was the Big Dipper, which was a wooden roller coaster and wrapped around the whole park. Yeah. So that was the longest ride. Okay, so the Melbourne history was a success before World War I. Had the scenic railway and also the Palais de Royal.
You practiced this last night.
Yes, yeah, I'm not very good with French words. So, which is later named as Google Palace.
You should manage that one, okay. Yeah.
While You Wait, which was a photo booth. So it was better known as an American bowl slide, so a lot of sporting techniques, which is horrible. Yes. So during 1981, Google Palace had a fire, which was in Melbourne, Luna Park. It killed almost... What?
I think about anybody killed there?
Well, it did cause the Luna Park a massive fire. So most of the rides were got demolished because they were declared unsafe and they didn't follow the work health safety standards, which we didn't have much back then. So after that, the Big Dipper got demolished in 1989 for a bigger roller coaster to make it better for people. So Luna Park, Melbourne had a bit more rides than we do now. It still remains the same. Coney Drop, the Spider, which I've never been on, and a Ferris wheel, which is a bit smaller. So some of these remain in the Victorian Heritage state. So it got awarded by the government. Sydney history. After Luna Park was opened in 1935, the council decided, since Luna Park's here, why don't we build a swimming pool on top of that, which is a 2-minute walk from Luna Park. So the pool was adjacent to Luna Park and is opposite Sydney Harbour Bridge. So so people either got to visit Luna Park or the pool. Back then, Luna Park was well known for television program filming. One of the films was Leslie Norman's film adaptation of the Summer 17th Doll. I haven't heard of that TV show. I think most of you, I think most of you have heard of this TV show.
Only the old people.
Yes, and then
That's all of us.
Not me.
and then there was another TV show sequence which was filmed for 6 o'clock and Skippy the Bush Kangaroo.
Oh, and you know who the baddie was on that one? John Waters.
So quite a number of TV shows were filmed at Luna Park because that's where they wanted to film, somewhere famous. It was also mentioned Men at Work had a album going upstairs in the house, which was their 1983 album Cargo. If you've heard of Land Down Under, which was one of their famous songs. After that, $78,000.
I think that might be later, so bear in mind it's LED lighting.
Oh yes. The New South Wales government decided, since Luna Park is up and running, they would pay for the LED lighting, which was very kind of them during the state budget of 2011. This meant that the park's repairs and the buildings got fixed so they didn't get damaged anymore, but the lighting has now gone all funny again after the financial difficulties of Luna Park. So this Luna Park got closed down a couple of times because they couldn't pay for the rent and of the ghost train fire, which I'll get to that later. This meant that it was awarded to the Metro Theatre in Sydney and the Edgeley Group. Rota, Carmel's favourite ride. I'm sorry, Carmel, that I brought it up. So, Ted Hopkins was one of the builders for Luna Park and built most of Luna Park's rides. But before Ted Hopkins came along in the picture, Ernest Hofmannsthal is a famous engineer for Germany. So he decided he would help build the rotor. So along came him. Mr. Hofmannsthal designed all the rotors in Luna Park for the Luna Park rides. But the problem was that they got demolished in 1990 for a good reason, because they wanted to make the rotor a bit smaller so they could fit other rides in, which ended up being a massive argument.
So it's back, but it's smaller.
Yes.
Right.
So he was well known for his designs, and as you can see, Luna Parks presents E. Hofstadter's world famous scientific theatre.
Which one of those has come out?
So that was one of his quotes, and it was also in Heart Quiz. So the ghost train fire in 1979. It was tragic. 6 children died, and 1 adult was with the children. This was awful because the witnesses weren't allowed to go to court to testify against this because the police didn't think it was a good idea. So this meant the ghost train ride was transported between Glenelg and...
No, that doesn't make any sense at all. Does it?
Okay.
Because it said 1979, so it's nothing to do with 1934. You've got this slide there, the secret.
Yes, I know.
Something's wrong here. So just say it was later.
Well, the ghost train was constructed in 1931 before this happened. So it meant that during this ride, it was originally blamed by the electrical faults, which didn't make any sense after they opened it for the second investigation. So basically, the coroner and the police decided they were going to blame all the staff members who were working that night for breaching their duty of care, which they lacked of. The fire was forced to close Luna Park down in 1982. Until 1982. And during that night of the tragic night, Chris Bailey, so most of you will know Peter Jackson. His friend worked that ghost train night, and he served as a paramedic. He said that it was a tragic, and he was upset that it was one of the hardest jobs that he had to complete. He had to drag the remaining bodies out of the wreckage, and then after that he was awarded for his Australian Service Medal. And then he retired. So he's now being retired for 51...
No, he's retired after 51.
Yes, he's retired after 51 years of service. So after that all happened, the park got demolished after the tragic incident because there was nothing left of the park after. So the government and the council decided, why don't we build a new amusement park with new owners? So that was operated under the name of Harbourside Amusement Park, the oldest name that I've ever heard of. That is Chris Bailey, and that's his 50 years of dedicated service. In 1987, the case was reopened again. Apparently no new findings were made, and although the police and criminal inquiry were criticised because obviously they couldn't do their job properly on finding any more information. So that meant the park was closed in 1988, and after that there were independent engineering inspection determined to be urgently repaired for most of the rides. So those were the 4 school children who died during the tragic accident, and that's like a little newsletter by David Armstrong. He was one of the reporters who were part of the news filming. That was when it happened. That was when the fire got really bad, and that meant we didn't know who survived or who didn't. So after that, that was a wreckage that got left behind.
Zara, over at Waverley College, the boys that died were students from Waverley
Yes.
College, and in the chapel there's a big plaque with all their names and details
Yeah.
about it.
So I'm going to show you a 2-minute video if I can get it to work. Where's the sound?
If you get any sound or not, just start it.
Oh, that's why,
You
because
might have to lip sync it as well.
because that's the video's not working on the.
Don't worry, just move on.
Okay, I'm just going to move on.
It's just that there's you saw on ABC that did a bit more of an investigation a year or two back.
That's right.
Certainly
Yeah,
was.
that's what it was.
And it's
It was deliberate scouting. It's that kind of
Good old Uncle A.
So, when the government allowed Luna Park to open up again in 1995, due to the fire, the park got closed after 13 months because of the Big Dipper.
Big Dipper got closed.
Yeah, the Big Dipper got closed because the residents who lived near Luna Park complained to the council saying that it was of noise pollution.
So who was there first? Were the residents there in 1931?
The residents were living before Luna Park got built.
So they were there before 1931, were they?
Yeah.
It's like moving in Mascot and complaining about the aircraft.
I don't think so. It's not that old.
Well, there wasn't
They
much.
couldn't hear it. Harry Seidel certainly wasn't.
Yes, there wasn't much that the owners of Luna Park could do, but they had to. They had to listen to what the residents asked. This
Probably all
meant.
the girls squealing.
Yeah. So this meant that. So this meant that it was consequences. There were massive consequences. Due to a lot of noise pollution, that meant that the park had to restrict its hours to whatever time that would be, because I wouldn't know. Due to noise complaints from residents of apartments, this meant that the big iconic Dipper was sold for I don't know how much money, but then got moved up to Dreamworld in 2002. So after that massive fiasco, it was then decided that we wanted to have a lease and a new construction for 40 years. So that was one of the first rides that got built by Ted Hopkins, better known as Hoppo, and Dick Pearce, which his full name was Richard Pearce, which was first built by them, and that was the first old Wild Mouse car.
Yeah. It was wild. It was great fun.
Yeah.
Is it still there?
It's unfortunately closed, but still there, but you're not allowed to ride. Information from Peter Jackson. Wild Mouse was designed and then transported, but the only thing that happened was it moved from Luna Park to the Sydney Easter Show at the old Sydney Showgrounds, which is gone. So Wild Mouse had three. Three of them got built in 1960. But it left a massive wreck because they didn't know what to do with it. Now, who owns Luna Park? Luna Park had a few owners for Sydney. So the Luna Park Reserve Trust is still owned. So once Luna Park got new owners, the government awarded the State Heritage Register on the 5th of March 2010. This meant that the government brought back 500 square metre clifftop site at Luna Park. After that, the leaseholders said enough was enough. new construction, the giant Brookfield multiplex, at cost $3.2 million to turn the park into a public.
They wanted to do it.
They wanted to do it, but they didn't have much of a choice. So that was a public park. So Luna Park had to agree. They had to sign some forms to make sure that was a public space for residents and guests. So that was commercially to develop the site. So as most of you know, Luna Park had 9 new rides. During our second lot of lockdowns, Luna Park decided the CEO had enough of the old rides, so decided to get the government's approval and the council's approval, and they all agreed, since we don't know what we're going to do, we may be in another lockdown. So this meant that the CEO paid $30 to $36 million to renovate the whole of Luna Park. Also behind Coney Island has rides as well. So the Big Dipper, which this is a third one that they built over the years, but they made it into the single roller coaster, so they didn't have the 2 people where they got to sit next to each other. Hair Raiser, not my favourite ride.
Have you been on them all?
No. It daunts me to see people scream from the top of Hair Raiser. It is still a 50-metre ride. It is very scary, and people have told me that they vomited after they got off. And I said to them, who cleaned up your mess? The cleaners. After that, the Wild Mouse roller coaster was installed in 1962, but now, unfortunately, is closed because they're going to replace something else with it. Don't know what, and our rides manager hasn't told us, so it's going to be a surprise. After that, the Ferris wheel, better known as the gondola. So it got introduced to the park during 1982 when the Harbourside development was on. And after that, Rota was the first ride, spinning ride, which I must say, and then people started to vomit because obviously they're not meant to have food before they go on these rides. So I have told guests...
Pay money for this, do they?
Yeah, I have told guests not to...
People watch them vomit.
Yes, I have told guests not to eat food before they go on spinny rides because they end up vomiting on everyone else. So that's interesting. And then the carousel was better known and built by John Rundle. Yeah, I like the horses spinning around. Then they decided, why don't we have a swing ride so we don't bore the guests out? So that now has been a permanent ride since 2013, and it's been the best ride I've known of since guests have been coming up and saying to me, oh, you should go in the Blu-ray. And not while I'm working. Dodgem City, better known as the Dodgem Cars. It has 19 cars and half of them are broke. So, yeah. And then we had the Tango Train. So this is the second Tango Train that got built, which is another spinny ride which makes people go all mad after.
It's got delayed reaction.
One of the new rides is Boomerang, which is a family roller coaster where greens and yellows can go on with their parents or can go by themselves, but greens do have to go on with adults. Then it came to the Sledgehammer, which my supervisor broke, which is made it 270 degrees, but now is a 360-degree ride, which is an upside-down ride, which I've been on and never go again. Yes.
You enjoyed it then?
But apart from me getting free rides, yes, I still enjoy people complaining to me. Then there's baby rides. So Little Nipper, better known as Preston and Barbary, mini coaster. Then we have Silly Sub, better known as the Crazy Bus, because crazy children want to go on it. So I advise your children not to go on it. Freaky Frogs, better known as the Jump Around, because it jumps a lot. Then Loopy Lighthouse is a jumping tower. Cloud 9, Samba Balloon, and the Bug, which is a smaller version of what we have for the Ferris wheel. So, Luna Park had a lot of names before it got called Luna Park. One of the names that amused me when I did my research was the Harbourside Amusement Park, because Luna Park was set on the harbour and across the wharf. The other name that they got given was Luna Park Milson's Point. What another fun name to have. Not like that I liked it and I had to disagree with it. And then the last name that they gave was Sydney's Luna Park. And our motto that we have on all our uniforms, and I hate it so much, is just for fun. But now we have a massive fan that showed on YouTube videos for Luna Park, because he loves it so much. 23 rides, 4 family roller coasters, which hopefully they haven't broken down at any stage. And then our architects, which... So, Freckles and Speckles, or that's Freckle, I believe. She is one of our characters for Luna Park. If you want to have your children's birthday parties there, you would meet Freckles and Speckles. Creepy. So we had 2 architects. Rupert Brown was designing Luna Park before World War II started, and then Herman Phillip, which he was one of the Phillip brothers. This was the State Heritage Register, and official names for it was the Luna Park Precinct, the entrance face and towers, because of a creepy face, and Crystal Palace. This is when we had the terrible
Was it the
dust, orange dust, yeah. Coney Island,
A few years ago.
yeah. Alfred Street entrance, Wild Mouse, and the Sandstone Cliff. This was all designated on the 5th of March 2010. That orange dust happened when I was in year 2. So this was well known for their recreation and entertainment because they wanted to make it fun. Luna Park had 2 builders, David Atkins, the Stewart brothers, and Ted Hopkins, who built Luna Park and made it a very successful business, and made a lot of money. Yeah. That's it.